All right. There we go. Okay, guys, what's up? Welcome to our next episode of HexTCGPro. I actually we need to have some sort of numbers with this, so I can it can make it sound cool. I actually have no idea what number this is. I'm gonna guess number 100 because we have been doing it for so long. With me, we have Charles, which was with me last time. Charles, say hello.
Hello.
We have Dusty with us with his brand new 42 is a good number, sure. This is episode 42. With Dusty down here at the
life
bottom.
right there.
Sure. Dusty has a new flashy webcam, and then we have our head editor slash kind of whipped John Tata.
Hello.
His webcam doesn't work, and he didn't want to try to learn how to fix it or get it to work, so he just is going to be this. Actually, while I was trying to get this to work, I came up with this. I found this little Captain Underpants picture that one of our viewers submitted for like one of our first videos. That was his nickname they gave him, was Captain Underpants. So I'm just going to go ahead here and put this over top of his webcam, so we'll just call him Captain Underpants for the rest of the show. This week, Tad is the new Dusty. You're right. Maybe next week he'll get his webcam working, and then Charles will go out or something. One of his kids will destroy it or something. So we have a pretty good show for you today. But before we get into that, I want to apologize for the super janky looking kind of overlay type thing we have. I had like a really cool one all like worked out, but then what's it called? XSplit kept crashing, and that's why our show's kind of late. So I ended up having to just scrap it and throw up the old one so we can get it working. So I'm sorry about that. It does look kind of janky, so I really apologize. It's all Charles' fault. In case you guys
I'll admit it. I'll take it.
he took it out. But we have a pretty good show for you today. We're going to talk about a combo that Charles kind of has a little bit of a sneak peek about. We're going to talk a little bit about combos in general, what we think of them, and if we see kind of any formulating in the Hex environments already. Then Dusty wants to talk a little bit about first picks and draft, give you guys an idea of like how to start the draft off correctly. Because for me, I know I just got into the Hearthstone beta. One of my friends gave me his beta account, and drafting is very tough. It's something I want to be really good at, but I'm really terrible at. And any kind of stuff we can go over, I think will help you guys out a lot. I know it will for sure help me. So I'm pretty excited to talk about that. And then I know John wants to talk a little bit about our website and kind of our future goals moving in towards alpha/beta. So without further ado, guys, anybody else want to say anything during the opening segment here?
No, I think we're going to give away a pack of sleeves as well at some point during this whole deal.
Oh, are we?
Sure, why not? We have about 20 of them, so might as well give one away.
We just throw the sleeves around here in this HexTCGPro type of place. We don't care. We just throw them out. You guys want one? We'll give everyone one. Who gives a shit, right? Is that okay? Dustin, can we do that? Can we just give everyone?
Oh yeah, let's just
why not?
Making it rain.
We'll give everyone two. Cool. All right. So moving on, Charles. Let's start with you, buddy. I like starting with you because you're new and fun to tease. What's up with this new combo deck? I know you said it was kind of creeping around the forums a little bit. Maybe I think you said like maybe playtest groups kind of working on it or something.
I was talking to Guar about it, and he just kind of tipped me off to the main thing is like Eye of Creation is like the big engine to the deck. Pull this up right here. If you don't know, Eye of Creation is a card that's gonna.
Let me pull the card up actually.
Oh yeah, you go ahead and do it.
I actually had him. I had him downloaded for the old overlay, but I think it'll still pop up here.
All right.
I'll block me off. No one likes me anyway.
But as you can see there, the idea is basically we're going to cast a massive Eye of Creation, and then we're going to put a lot of like between 1 and 3 drops in the deck, and that's just going to give us a lot of advantage, and our opponent won't be able to come back from it. He said something about being able to use it to win on turn 5, but I haven't figured that out yet. He also considered using some cards like Chronic Madness, Pack Raptor, Sensei of the Milky Eye. All these cards are basically going to either give you a cantrip or they're going to shuffle back into your deck.
Okay.
So, I mean, optimally, turn 1, if you were playing with like the Sapphire Wild version that I put together to try to figure this out, your turn 1 would be like a Chronic Madness, so you're going to throw 3 cards from your opponent's deck into their graveyard to kind of start that mill. The next time you cast Chronic Madness, it's going to be for 9, which is a lot.
Okay.
So turn 2, Optimally, you're going to play Sensei the Milky Eye to draw a card to keep your hand total up. Turn 3, I figured like a Chlorophylla would probably be pretty good, which would put your total mana to 5, and then on turn 4, that means you would have possibly 6 resources, and you could cast Chlorophylla for 3, hopefully drawing 3 really good cards. Possibly, if you draw 3 Chronic Madness, I mean, that could be pretty deadly right there. You could really mill your opponent out pretty heavily.
Sure. Well,
or something like that. But I mean, the odds of that, you have to draw Eye of the Creation. That's the biggest problem I'm seeing with this.
Okay, well, I mean, so for me, I'll let everybody take their turn. I'll go first because I'm the coolest. My thing is, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of combo decks at all. Sometimes they're good, like we saw Splinter Twin and Magic and stuff obviously be very good, but when they're very good, they very quickly get banned or get knocked out. I don't like them, and I don't like that. It's a deck where it's like, if I get these cards, I might win, but if I don't get these cards, I always lose. Like, to me, that's the definition of combo. And like, this deck, even more so than most combo decks, seems very loose to me. Like, I don't trust it. Like, I can see that, like, and like, that's the best way to maybe break the format when you start out, is like trying to find a combo deck and just like crush out the format with it. I get it. I get why this team, whoever they are trying to play test this a combo deck first. And obviously, Eye of Creation is a very powerful card, and if I was going to make a combo deck, that's probably for surely where I would start. I mean, the card is very, very strong. But this deck seems, first of all, it has the word combo in it, which I don't trust, and second of all, it has the word mill in it, which I for surely don't trust. So, like, we'll move around the table here. We'll start with John, then go to Dusty. But John, what do you think about this so far? I know we haven't really had a lot of time, like, to really, look over it, but
yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat as you. I do like combo decks, and I play them quite a bit in other games. But I like combo decks that are more self-sustaining, and what I mean by that is that they're good decks on their own that don't really need the combo off, to win, but they have a combo in there that might end the game or speed the game along. Like, for example, I do like the Eye of Creation quite a bit. I feel like it's a very, very powerful card, but I think that you can build a very good deck that just happens to have the eye in it, rather than just build an eye deck. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
Yeah, sure. I know, like, whenever me and you not spoiled, I'm sorry, but whenever me and you reviewed the cards way back in Kickstarter days, which sounds so long ago, which really wasn't, but, like, we put Eye of Creation as our number one, like, the top green card. Like, we thought it had the potential to be the best green card.
Yeah, it's what you call an enabler, is that you can cause some really sick things to happen in a game, but you don't want to rely on it too much as your win condition. So what we talked about back then was playing like the green dragon, runs of the litter, Chlorophylla, cards like that to get us to certain points of the game and just win with like a really big eye or something else like this combo deck that Charles was talking about. I'm sure it's very powerful, but it sounds like it's 4, 5, 6 card combo with no like redundancy in it, and it's not going to be very consistent, and you're just going to get absolutely pretty much rolled over by all the red decks and everything else that just kills you by turn 4 or 5.
Which we talked about earlier. One of the most strongest decks coming out of the gates is going to be like the mono red deck. It's going to be terrifying. It's going to be really hard to beat. And if you have this kind of diddly combo, it doesn't go off till turn 5 or 6, and when it does go off, it might not even work. You're just setting yourself up for failure. Against these super fast aggro decks that always come out of the gate when a new card game comes out. I mean, like, Hearthstone was out for 2 days, and then there's like 6 different Murloc decks out. I mean, it's always what people go to first is these really, really quick aggro decks, and like, if you can't have some way to sustain your way into the late game, like, you're just not going to be able to get these combos off. And like you said, like, a good example of your combo was the Callblade decks that started putting Splinter Twin in the deck. Like, correct? Like, that's a good way to like kind of show like the deck could win by itself. It didn't have to Splinter Twin, but it was cool that sometimes it just did. And that's like, really where you should try to be hitting at for combo decks.
Exactly.
Sure. So, Dusty, what do you think, man? What do you think about this combo deck?
Well, my first thought is I don't really see the combo in it. I mean, I think it has some good interactions. I'll say first that if you go back to my original article, top 5 PvP cards, Eye of Creation, and I think is one of still the best, certainly top 5 most powerful potential cards. And to me, it sings build around me. There was a Magic card that was very similar to this, called Genesis Wave, and the deck played a bunch of ramp and a bunch of fatties, and you would Genesis Wave for 5 or 6 or 7, X equals 5 or 6 or 7, and sometimes you still lost the game. So it's not really a combo deck in that sense. I was trying to do some math while you guys were talking. So Chronic Madness, I don't know if someone can pull that card up.
Yeah, I got it right here. I'll pop it up right now. I'll block John Tata with it.
So the first time it's 3, and then it doubles every time.
Yeah,
or is it double or triple?
So
now this is the card that they're trying to combo off of,
right?
Okay. All
well,
right.
that's one of the big ones, and it's difficult to say what they're trying to do. I mean, you could throw your own cards into your graveyard and then recursion them back, maybe, but it's difficult for me to. I'm still investigating it myself.
Like with Chronic Madness, I mean,
it does only cost 1.
If you hit all 4, so first of all, Chronic Madness, this card's bad. Like,
thank you for saying that.
It's just straight up bad in and of itself. Again, doesn't affect the board, doesn't kill a creature, doesn't make your opponent discard cards. You just play it, and that doesn't mean it can't fit somewhere in a.
Sure.
It's a different vector. It's a different vector of attack.
A certain type of deck. But if you hit all 4 of these, and I would call that living in Magical Christmas Land. If you Genesis Wave for, not Genesis Wave. If you Eye of Creation for 4, the first one mills 3. Then 6, that's 9. Then 12, that's 21. And then 24, you've milled 45 cards at that point. So they still have cards in their deck. So you haven't even killed them from that point. So
So like
I don't get it.
What the way escalation works, right? Does it go off and then like as soon as it goes off, shuffle back in, and you can hit it maybe again? With
I'm saying if you hit all 4, so like
you would resolve each.
But what I'm saying is it does it resolve and then shuffle immediately back in the deck before the next Eye Creation trigger happens.
No,
Eye Creation the next Chronic Madness
all at once.
Okay, sure.
But Chronic Madness is going to go off, and then it'll actually double while they're on the stack. Because if you look at the wording there, it's the same name in all zones. So even on the stack, it's going to double from 3 to 6 to 12 to 24 cards. And of course, you can only have 4 copies in your deck. I'm just not seeing it, to keep it short.
Okay, well, see, my problem with the combo and is that you're trying to win by mill, and I think it was John that said this to begin with. But whenever you're trying to mill people out, you're trying to actually kill them harder than if you just attack them, because they actually have more cards in their deck than they do life. Like they actually have 3 times more life. More cards than they do life. So you're actually it's like you're taking the hard way to win. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's what I said quite a while ago, was that in a mill deck your opponent essentially has 60 life, whereas just normally they have 20. So if you think about it that way, it's very difficult to mill people. Now don't get me wrong, there's Magic decks that just mill people, and they're actually still quite viable. As per for example, it tries to just pretty much mill all of your cards with a land card, and you're pretty helpless. Well, this game there can be a deck like that, and Chronic Madness will probably be a key part of it. But we just haven't seen the cards yet that would make a deck like that viable.
Yeah,
Right.
and I agree 100%. One of the big things that I guess kind of bothers me is that people are trying to go this Chronic Madness route, which is fine. But if you just replace Chronic Madness with Ragefire, for example, you would just kill them.
Right.
If you hit all 4 Ragefires, you would just kill them.
Right.
To me, that seems like a more viable way to go about it than just to be oh, I'll mill you. It will happen. And then Dusty does the math, and actually it's not going to happen. You're going to have 15 cards left in your deck.
So we haven't seen any green escalation cards yet, right?
You've got Pack Raptor.
Well, that's not escalation,
that's not really
though. That's
escalation,
sure,
right.
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 Okay, yeah. Because if Wild has some good escalation cards, then that'll make Eye of Creation even better. But for now though, like Dusty was saying, Ragefire is our best bet for escalation off of Eye of Creation.
Right, and you don't really make your money back on Ragefire until you cast it the second time anyways.
Now the problem I have too about this combo, and actually kind of the problem that I think a lot of people run into a lot when they come up with funky deck ideas, is that card games are a game of consistency. The more consistent your deck is, the better you'll win. I know, Dusty, you were telling me on the way back from Gen Con, one of the best players of all time, it was like Reed Dukas, who you said, only has like a 60% win ratio or something like that, and that's like absurd for him. Like, or was it you telling me that, or maybe it was somebody else telling me that? I don't know.
We talked about that. I mean, your pro players against other pros, like LSV at one point, I think was like 70% win percentage, and that was just unheard of on the Pro Tour.
Yeah, so like, I mean, 60% win ratio isn't that good. Like, I mean, I'm not saying for card games. I mean, just like if you think of a 60% win ratio like other games, like I know Cloud9 right now in League has like a 89% win ratio or something. They're just dominating everyone. Like, that's impressive. But like in a card game, 60% is actually, you know, impressive because the way the consistency works. So like, sure, sometimes you're going to get this combo off and mill the person out, and that will trick a lot of people into thinking this deck works. But in reality, if it only works 1 out of 10 times, you're never going to win a tournament with it. Like, you're never going to win, like, you know, a good best of 3 with it or anything like that, unless you just get incredibly lucky. Which, like, I don't want to bet my tournament results and like just hoping that I combo off, you know, every single turn, and then maybe not even kill people with it. It just seems very loose to base your decks around like these really loose combos. So Charles, do you have anything else to say about?
No, I mean, I just want to point out that like whenever you're milling, you know, it's really not really 60. I would say it's more like 50 or 45. Typically, another thing to think about, just in general, when you're talking about decks and deck design, is you're not going to see all 60 cards of your deck. You're going to see maybe 20 of them, unless you're playing control, in which case you'll probably see 40 of them. But just, I mean, I guess that's a different conversation altogether, really.
No, it's not. It's actually that's kind of what we're talking about. It's combos here, and like I'm glad you brought that up because that's the reason why Splinter Twin did so well in the modern circuit, because it had cards like Ponder and Preordained to search up this combo, and like and they banned those cards, and when they did, like Splinter Twin doesn't really do much anymore because it's like not as consistent. Like before, you could consistently go off because you could look at like 30 or 40 cards in your deck by turn 3 or 4. You know, now you can't do that, and like there's no cards like that at all spoiled. I think what's the one blue card? It's like Peak. I think is.
I mean, I've actually got Splinter Twin here.
No, I'm not talking about Splinter Twin. I'm talking about like in Hex, right? The Sapphire card.
Oh, in Hex.
Peak,
right?
I
have that up. That is Peak. Yeah, you're right. But it doesn't draw you a card, so that's a big problem.
Well, yeah, for sure. But like that's like the only dig card we've seen so far, and it's not even that good. You know,
yeah.
So I don't see how these
cards on the top of your deck equal to the Sapphire that you have, and shuffle any number of them into your deck. Shuffle them into your deck, then put the rest on the top in any order. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not the greatest, sure, but it's like the only dig we have, and like those are the key cards to like help for combos to go off. Like, you need those kind of dig cards for combos to be consistent. I know, Dusty, you were about to say something before I interrupted you. I'm sorry, man. What were you saying?
No, I mean, to me, like, I don't see Eye of Creation as something that's going to create a combo, but I see it more of a value card. So I was looking over some of the wild cards that have been spoiled. I'd be more looking to playing cards that have enter the battlefield effects, things like that. Play the dragon in there and trying to resolve one for 6 or 7, and just valuing out your opponent at that point. Versus, I don't see a combo happening with it. I mean, again, we've only seen 200 and some cards, so you never know.
Yeah, no, you're right, for sure. But like, someone in the chat mentioned the Time Bug combo. Like, I know that's something you talked about, Tata, like right when the game was released. What do you think about that? Do you think that might have any kind of, it might be competitive at all, or any kind of?
I thought that was pretty horrible.
Pretty much no chance, but I love Time Bug. That card's flavor and design is so cool, and the fact that it's a 2-cost artifact that's a 1/1 flyer is going to be pretty relevant just on its own, but you're pretty much never ever gonna like actually take extra turns with that guy though.
Sure. I know, Dusty, we were talking a little bit about the Midnight Shepherd guy. Like, what do you think about him? Do you think he actually might have some kind of reanimator strategy, maybe combo type thing available for him?
I mean, the potential's definitely there. It's definitely a card that if it's not viable set 1, maybe set 2, add some more elements to it.
Sure.
John and we were kind of talking pre-cast, the potential of like putting Argus into play on turn 3 or 4, and what are those pieces that you put into a deck? I don't know if anyone has Midnight Shepherd there to show real quick, but what are the pieces to put into a deck to make this guy viable? I mean, It starts with that 1-cost artifact that adds threshold, but what other pieces do you put to? Because obviously Argus on even like 4 or 5, even 6 is still fairly powerful. So.
Now, do you think Argus is the best target for a reanimator type thing? Like, do you think he is the most powerful finisher that we've seen so far?
Of the cards I've seen, now I admit there might be some ones I have not
The short
seen.
answer to that is no. He is not the best one, but he is very good.
Well, what's the best? What's the best
Now,
one then?
the long answer is that there are probably several guys better than him. Like, for example, one of the dragons would probably be better. There are 5 dragons, I think, 1 for each color. So, I mean, that could be relevant. The blood one, for example, is very good. He might be as good or better than Argus. Maybe some huge wild monster. I don't know what they'll have at the upper end of the curve, but traditionally in decks that bring cards back from the graveyard, the best ones have been either green or black, or in some cases artifacts like Darksteel Colossus, things like that. But
Sure.
I haven't seen anything that just comes into play and just wins the game. But
Sure.
if I had to guess, I would say it'll probably end up being some really big green monster or some dragon.
Okay. Well, real quick before we go any further in the Midnight Shepherd thing, I just popped him up on the screen. He's a 2-cost, 1 blood threshold Midnight Shepherd. It says he has 1 power, 1 toughness. Put target troop in a graveyard into play under your control. Lose a threshold of your choice, but you have to have 1 threshold of every color. That's kind of how he works. Now, when I first saw this card, I thought, this is garbage because there's absolutely no way you're going to be able to have all those thresholds right now. Do you guys think it's actually possible to have all 5 thresholds by a reasonable time?
Yeah, and that's what Dusty and I were talking about earlier. Sorry if I just cut somebody off, but there's a one cost artifact called let me find it. Adaptable Infusion Device, where it's a 1-cost artifact. It says when it enters play, you choose and gain any threshold, and then it also has the ability of pay 4 and sacrifice it to draw a card. So with that card, I assume you'd play 4 of them. You could feasibly draw, we'll say 1 by turn 4 or 5. So on turn 4 or 5, it might not be that hard to get all 5 thresholds. And also keep in mind that you don't have to have 5 resources in play to use this guy's effect. You just have to have all 5 thresholds. So if somehow you get some ridiculous draw with multiple devices, you could play 1 on turn 1 and then 1 on turn 3 and actually have all 5 thresholds on turn 3 to be able to use this guy. So,
and if not, at least you have the dragon or Argus or whatever in your deck just to win if the combo doesn't go off, correct? You just have a way to win without it.
right.
I guess, sure. Which one's Uranza? Is that the black dragon?
Yeah, the black one.
That's what I thought. Okay.
He's really good. I actually like him a lot.
I do too. I like the black dragon. I like all the dragons, to be honest. I don't like the blue one very well, but I like the black and green one a lot.
I don't think the blue one's bad. I feel like there's a way to probably abuse them, but sure, it might not be as good as some of the other ones. So, it just the black one, it does something when it enters play. So cards like that, Argus for example, is a very good card, but it doesn't do anything when it enters play. It's just an 0/5 that has to tap to do something.
Yeah.
Which that's what it does is very, very powerful. However, it doesn't really impact the board that much the turn it comes into play.
Well, with Midnight Shepherd, right? You have to tap Shepherd to put him in play, right?
Yeah.
So couldn't you just do that at the end of their opponent's turn?
Sure. Yeah.
And that way you can actually
or in
just
response.
Let's be fair here that the Black Dragon does not have an interplay effect either. Milling your opponent for 7 is not an interplay effect.
Sure.
If I were to choose any guy right now, in terms of who I want to resurrect, it would be Argus, because you can literally sit there every permanent, and they have to kill him. I would probably also have the dragon in my deck, to be fair, because you would want multiple targets, but I don't see any guy that has an interplay effect that's extremely powerful that I've seen anyway.
Well, I'd rather have the black dragon, but we usually don't see eye to eye on many things, and always end up at the same place at the end. So,
True
whatever.
let's get him in here. Here's Anza. I actually probably say that completely wrong. But there's too many U's in this word, first of all. I don't know who decided to put 3 U's in one word or name or whatever, but it's a bad decision because I can't read it. I don't think anybody can. Anyway, 7-drop, 5/5 flyer that says whenever you, Dragon, or another troop enters play under your control, target champion buries cards on the top of their deck equal to the cost of that troop. Stu, when your Zama deals combat damage to a champion, you may put target troop from that champion's graveyard into play under your control. So that does seem powerful.
I mean, it's really, really good. Like, let's not, kid around here. Like, the guy's super powerful. Like, he's a 5/5 flyer for 7 mana. Like, I mean, I haven't seen anything that, that big.
Beefy.
Sure, and to be fair, he's probably going to hit, right? I mean, he's a flyer, and you have him in a black deck, so he's probably going to hit. I mean, but he isn't as guaranteed as Argus, though, right? Like, if Argus comes into play and you actually untap with Argus in play, like, he is going to affect the board.
Yeah, but the problem with Argus is that he can't kill lands. Like in Magic,
Sure.
a card like Argus will be very good because he can blow up your opponent's land starting on like turn 3. But like in this game, it's like, all right, cool. I just won't play anything. I'll just keep playing lands and passing, and you have an 0/5. Like, like that's all he does, right? Is just tap to vindicate something.
Void target card. Deal 5
tap
damage
to void
to
or...
each opposing champion. So
Okay,
he can,
so sure. So
he can end a turn your guy
Right.
for 5.
Yeah, so he still does 5. So yeah, sure. So that's like much better. Like I thought that he just vindicated, but I'd still rather have
4-turn clock.
Sure.
Sure.
So that's fine. And like also.
Let's be realistic. You're probably playing both of these guys if you're playing a resurrect deck.
Yeah, of course.
I don't. What does the blue dragon? Of course, that's in set 2. That guy didn't have an interplay effect, right?
No. Actually, he did have an interplay.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He did 2 things. He took your permanents and doubled them, and he took the cards in your hand and doubled them.
Oh, I thought that's when he dealt damage, but is that not like?
Oh wait, oh no, right. You're right. When he deals damage. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
I actually have the card. I can pull it up, but I don't know if that's.
So he doesn't have it. Yeah.
It's a set 2 card. I really don't. I mean,
while you're pulling that card up, I want to talk about something someone said in chat here. Someone did bring up that there was an interview. I believe it was by Hex Musings. I'm not sure. There's so many fan sites these days, but someone was talking about. There was an interview with Ben Stoll that actually kind of spoiled a non-basic resource, which kind of works like a Cavern of Souls type, Magic card deal. But what it does is it comes into play. It doesn't add a resource the turn that it enters play, but it enters play as a copy of any basic resource that's in your deck. So it's like essentially any color, resource, but you just can't use it the turn that it enters play. So that's like really good, and I feel like almost every deck would play 4 of them.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
Is that Sean in chat for Forganost or whatever?
That is.
Why is he not in the fucking call?
We don't want to talk to him.
I mean, you're right. I don't want to. I don't even like him anymore. Sure. So the Shards of Fate card's what you're talking about, right? The dual card, the dual thing, or whatever, the dual resource.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're the Shards of Fate. Like, I don't think the card is actually called Shard of Fate, but like there's non-basic lands or non-basic resources in this set that are just like symbolizing the Shards of Fate, basically.
Yeah.
If I were to create my own dual resource, I think the drawback would have to be it would come into play untapped, but you would it wouldn't give you a threshold for your champion, something like that.
Sure. That makes sense. I can see that. Yeah. Cool. So, is anybody else anything I'll talk about combos? Any other combos you guys are looking forward to see, or anything at all? Nope. No combos.
Nope.
No, let's move on to something else.
Okay, cool. All right, so I think, Dusty, you want to talk about doing the first pick in the draft, like how to decide what the first pick in the draft was. So I'm going to go ahead and get that set up. While I get set up, why don't you and John kind of talk about how you guys determine what the best first pick is in the draft, and what you guys think the best first pick would be in Hex that we've seen so far, obviously.
Well, I assume that we're talking about commons, right? Because, you can't really factor rares into this.
Well, yeah, commons, uncommons.
Sure.
Go ahead, John.
Well, no, it's basically going to have to probably be something, that's versatile, like, murder, for example, or like burn, or something like that. Cards like that are always going to be good first pick, a material. there's this game. I can't see this drafting being any different than Magic, for example. Of course, it'll have some differences, but it'll be mostly the same as far as picks go. Where you'll want, cards like Murder and just straight up targeted removal over like solid creatures.
Yeah. Okay. I have it popped up though. I'm gonna switch over to the screen. You guys have to follow around on stream, but so I'll give you guys a couple seconds to that kind of catch up. But I'm actually our rare in this pack is really trash, so maybe this will be a good way to kind of talk about what our first picks are here. As soon as you guys get caught up, just let me know, one of you.
I can see it, but
I
don't know if you can make it a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I can't. Maybe I can shift scroll or hold scroll, whatever. Do something like this.
I think it's control scroll, right?
It is. It's
Yeah.
That's the best I can do right there.
That's good.
Yeah. So like out of this pack here, like I would pretty much snap take Murder. Like I wouldn't really even think twice about it.
Yeah, and I'm in the same school of thought as John. So I'm always looking for premium removal spells, then premium creatures, secondary. So, the only thing I even think is a consideration here, I'd look at Murder or Burn. I think the only thing you could argue not taking Murder would be Atrophy's, I would guess, probably decent and limited. In sealed or draft, and then
I'm
not a
big
lot
fan
of
that
one
one.
toughness creatures out there though.
Well, it's permanent though, so even if you play it on
Yeah.
like a 3/3, like
Yeah, and it cantrips too, so that's never.
yeah, so
Yeah, the cantrips.
you can create some pretty good combat trades just with that card by giving creature -1/-1 and also drawing a card. Like it's a very good card. I would never be upset to play like one of them in my draft decks, maybe even two. But it's a strong card. Like other cards that are in this pack that could be considered would be like Veteran Gladiator is very good, and the Clergyman is also pretty good.
No,
But
here's a problem that happens to me sometimes in drafts. Whenever I kind of follow this from this thing, because I do like what Dusty says. Like I always try to take removal first. Like I'm like I have to have removal, and like again I'm super new to draft, so like this is why I'm asking this to you guys. But I always like I'll take removal. Like I even had a Hearthstone draft where I took like all the good removal spells, all the good spells to remove stuff, and it was my first mage deck. And then I pop up and I have no way to actually win the game.
sure.
So like how do you kind of tradition and like do that transition from I have enough removal? Like how do you understand that like now you need to start getting big guys?
Well, for me, like there's no such thing as too much, but like you have to be smart with it. Like the biggest thing that I see with newer players is that they'll use their murders and burns too early. So then when you get to the later stages of the game, your opponent plays this 6-cost 6/6 crush guy, and he just wrecks you, or 6-cost 6/6 flyer guy. You don't have any way to kill him because you murdered his 3-drop 2/2. Like you have to use your life as a resource. So even if that 3-drop has to hit you 3 or 4 times, before you can finally block it, like that's fine because you'll still have that murder for their 5 or 6 drop, later in the game, so you can win with your 4-drop 4/4, whatever. I mean, those are very broad examples, but like the whole point is you have to be smart with your spells. But all that aside, I would play 10 murders if I could. Like, I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, it is the best removal right now.
Well, and I was just gonna say, I did. In this pack, I mean, for me, 3 cards stand out: Murder, Burn, and Ruby Lance. And like Ruby Lance, I don't want to commit to it first pick, because it's committing me to heavy Ruby, right out of the gate, where I want to be like dominant Ruby and then splash something else. Burn is always going to be good, but Murder, I mean, it's just your most versatile removal. And in terms of how to balance, I think there's a point where you would stop taking Burns and Ruby Lances, but I really don't think there's a point where you would stop taking Murders if they were available.
Yeah, I agree.
You obviously need some threats, but kind of speaking to John's, not killing the early creatures. I don't know who said a quote. It was some Magic Pro, but I think it was actually Zv. He said something to the extent of, there are no wrong threats, there are only wrong answers. So if your opponent's, throwing down threats, you got to decide, all right, is it worth a murder? Is it worth a burn?
Okay. So what you guys are saying is you stop taking like burns and ruby lances because eventually you won't be able to kill stuff with them. Like eventually creatures get bigger than 2 toughness. But with murder, it always kills them. Like for it doesn't matter what they could play a 100-100, a murder still kills them. So that's why you don't mind keep getting murders, and like that's why you kind of stop the ruby lance and burn pick. Is that kind of what you guys were saying?
Yeah, basically.
Sure.
I'd say some of it also just comes down to knowing the format and knowing the cards that are in the set. It's like you look at the pack and you should know the commons and uncommons that could be coming your way, and you should also be knowing know what's popular, because if you draft that murder and everybody's going to be going that shard, you might not have decent quality creatures and everybody's going to be drafting it. It's a big one with green that I saw a lot. What was it, like four blocks ago? That people were like heavy into green, so like that person that was like into blue and other things, they got a windfall of cards and other packs. If you decide to pass that murder to the next person, you are sending a strong signal to them that you are not in that color. I mean, it's just that gets into a much deeper metagame. Obviously, I would take the murder, but I mean that's more of like signaling and other stuff and knowing what's popular possibly in your area, which is impossible to do online. But I mean, some of that's just knowing the metagame.
Okay. All right, let's do another pick. Let's refresh here and see what else we get. So we get a better first pick and see if we.
And now that last pack too, Boulder Brutes, so like worth mentioning too because he is socketable. But we've already talked about socketable cards.
All right, so the next one's up. Let's see what you guys think.
This pack, for me, like I know a lot of people are on counter spells, like proverbial nuts right now. But I like the card, but I don't think it's that great in like a draft format. So out of this pack here, I'd probably take Ruby Pyromancer, or man, I don't know. This pack's pretty weak overall, but the Pyromancer is probably the best card.
So before Dusty chimes in, why do you not like counterspell? What's the problem with?
I love counterspell. I just don't think that like counterspells traditionally haven't been very good in like limited formats. Like every once in a while they are, but overall though, they're not as good as just having like a threat.
They're going to table a lot of times. They're going to table, and you'll be able to pick up like 2 of them for your deck max, and you'll get them late.
Well, how about you, Dusty?
My thought on this pack, I mean, I definitely, I mean, obviously I like counter magic. You don't want to commit to it again, assuming this is first pick, because it's double threshold blue. So you're immediately again saying, hey, I'm pretty strong Sapphire, or you got to abandon your first pick, which again is not a problem. And it's not really where you want to be in a limited format. For me, I'm kind of in John's boat. I'm looking at 2 cards here. Ruby Pyromancer probably is going to be good in most mono red white decks. Potentially, I guess 3 cards. I can't see what it's called, but Terrible Transfer. So it's kind of like the Corrupt. But again, you're committing to heavy black, so I would negate that. I'm looking more at Pyromancer or the Shinhair Eulogist. I feel like that card you could, the 2-drop up above there.
Yeah.
Potentially like strongly build around that card. Go a
2-drop,
blood, wild deck or something, and that guy's going to get out of control pretty quick, to where he's going to be more like a 5/4 or a 4/3 or something like that.
Yeah. What's cool?
I'd probably take him.
What's cool about him too is that eventually he's going to get out of the range where like only certain Burn can't kill him, Ruby Lance can't kill him. There'll only be like a couple removal spells that can actually kill him, and I guess that might help you kind of get out of the range of removal that your opponents might have or whatever. What do you think, Charles? What would you take out of this pack?
Well, if we're already committed to murder, I mean, Eulogist, I like that one the best because that just keeps me on color. If this was my first pack, I mean, I love playing like the white weenie deck, so I mean, I love like the Kraken Guard Mariner, but the Eulogist is much stronger. So I mean, if that card wasn't there, then maybe I would go Mariner. The Pyromancer is definitely really good too, but I've kind of moved away from red. I mean, I guess that's sometimes also another strategy that people will go into is they will go in with a deck in mind, which isn't necessarily the best thing to do, though they'll have certain colors in mind that they feel are the strongest ones, and so they'll just draft those colors anyways. Just another draft strategy that people will do.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So like I know in like M12 draft, back when I drafted all the time way back in the day, a lot of people like to just draft like blue-white flyers. They thought that was like the best draft, and people just draft it. No matter what, they'd force it. They would just draft blue-white flyers. Like, is that ever a good strategy, guys? Like, is that ever a point where you're just like, this is the best, whatever, and I will draft it no matter what? Like in this pack, just to give a quick example, even how terrible it might be, like, why don't you just be like, oh, I'll take the Scrivener here because I might get the Paladins and stuff and have a life gain deck? Or like, why don't I take this Air Superiority because I might get blue-white, like that mono-blue tempo? And
sure. Well, just cards like that, just like they aren't good on their own, so that's why they're not really like first pick, quality cards. But right. Like, whereas like Pyromancer and in this pack is the safest pick. Like, there's no other card that you can argue that would be a safer pick than Pyromancer. Like, like other than the artifact, of course. But like, Pyromancer is good in mono red. He's really good in like the red white human inspired deck. He's really good in like red green beatdown. He's pretty much good in every deck that plays red. I could never think of a time where I wouldn't play this guy. Whereas these other cards in the pack, Tectonic Break, Centaur's Chosen, even the card that Dusty was talking about, the Shinhair guy, like all these cards kind of rely on other cards, to be good.
Okay. So yeah, so I guess that's my question. Like, do you just decide like? I mean, is pick one the safest time to pick these loose cards, or should you just pick safe all the way through a draft?
Well, you don't need to take a loose card like Air's, that the Air card first pick. Like, it will come back to you. Like, no one in their right mind would ever take that card the first time around the table unless like maybe the 7th drafter would draft like 7 flyers. Like, say he has 4 Thunderbirds, like he'd be like, cool, I'll take this card. But like, you would never ever take it early, and even when you do play it, like a lot of time it's not very good.
Okay.
So.
Okay, let's do a couple more first picks. You want to say anything else about this pack, Dusty, before I move on?
No, I mean, it just, again, I come down to Eulogist Pyromancer based off what else is in the set. Like, Eulogist, like will tend to happen, I don't really agree with John that you need other stuff because creatures are going to die in a game of limited. So, like,
well, it's just Shinhair, though.
Well, sure, yeah. So, but I assume, I mean, again, I haven't seen everything, that there's several Shinhair within Blood.
Yeah, there is.
I mean, there's a handful.
Yeah. There's another one actually, even in the pack.
Yeah.
But committing to the life gain or superior, that's not what you want to do with your first pick. Like, 2-drop 2/1 already seems good in and itself, and the Inspire, like John said, that's always going to be good. And then the Eulogist, based off what else is there, could be potentially very powerful as well.
Yeah, I mean, because like I guess that's kind of my problem a lot of times with draft. Like, I'll go through. I mean, like we'll take Cube Draft as an example. I'll go through and be like, this card's good, this card's good, like this card's good, and then I'll have a deck of all good cards. But then somebody will have like a Reanimator strategy and just crush me, or someone would have like a Flyer deck and crash me, or
some better synergy.
Yeah, they'll have a more synergistic deck. So like, at what point do you just go like, okay, like, do you look at this pack and go, okay, Eulogist is good because this Ritualist might table, and if it does, then I have this really cool Shinhair sack deck that I can start building. I mean, is that a thing you do, or do you just go through and just be like, nah, I'll take this, and then I'll take the next best card, and then hope it kind of works out, or is Cube Draft different? I mean, I guess that's kind of my problem with drafting right now.
Well, Cube Draft is actually much different. Like in Cube Draft, like I know I've said this several times, but Cube Draft is you draft an archetype. Like, you don't really necessarily draft the best card out of every pack. You draft an archetype. So cards like the Shinhair Eulogist and the Ritualist, like, they work well together, and in the Cube Draft that would be awesome. And even in this draft, like, I can see taking the Eulogist if you're pretty certain that the Shinhair or the Blood Cauldron guy would come back around. So what you would have to do is you would have to look at the pack, and let's assume that we're at an 8-man draft pod. So you figure say.
Before you go on, hang on. Just like, we can just do it. Like, we can just go through what you're trying to say and then see if it comes back around.
Well, sure, but like, before taking that card, let's really think about it. Like, I want everyone to see like what my train of thought is anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Figuring this out is like, okay, so I take the Eulogist first pick. All right, so now we have to count 7 other cards that are better than the Blood Cauldron Ritualist. So can we do that? Let's see. So we have counter magic, like someone would probably take that. Terrible Transfer, someone would take that. Pyromancer would be gone. Maybe the Kraken, Savage Raider would probably be gone. So there's only 5 cards that can even be considered before that, the Blood Cauldron guy. So like, there's a 99% chance that card will not be in the pack. Now, if you're drafting with AIs, sure, like.
Yeah, sure.
Like the 3 best cards might still be in this pack, but like, any real draft though, like those cards aren't going to be there. So that should devalue that, your pick like quite a bit because you just know the card's not going to come back. Now they could be in other packs that you haven't seen yet, but out of this particular pack, like it's not going to come back to you.
Right, plus you have 7 other packs at the table, and you're looking at rarity levels and other things. I mean,
yeah.
Chances are you're going to see certain things a lot.
All right, so so this is pack 2. Yeah, sure. Like, I mean, just take
Rods.
Whatever.
I'm just taking Shanair or whatever. That's why I get back around. So we're at 4 picks so far. Nothing. I'm just gonna pick the squirrel because it's cool looking.
Sure, it's fine. Just take random cards. It doesn't matter.
Sensei. Go ahead, Charles. What'd you say, buddy?
Oh, I was just saying, take the witch. I like the witch.
Okay, so this isn't our pack. It's the next pack. Yeah, so it didn't come back here.
Well, no, it's
this
next
is the pack. No, this is the pack.
Yep.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Your stream was
Yeah,
live.
you're right.
Yep,
All right, so like it didn't come back. So the AI like picked it. Now they left Savage Raider in the pack, which I feel like was one of the better cards. But
so if you went with Ruby Pyromancer the first time, you actually would come back around and have Savage Raider out.
Maybe not.
Yeah, that or the Rat Seeker.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
Rat Seeker might even be worth taking because your Pyromancer inspires it.
Sure.
But anyway.
Cool. All right, well, we'll do one more here real quick, and then we'll move on to our other stuff. Dustin, did you have anything else to say, bud?
No, that makes sense. We should probably real quick just give credit to the draft viewer of the website, by the way.
Oh yes. Me and John did a draft thing, and we talked a lot about this site. But in case you guys haven't seen it, this is hexdraft.com. These guys are so cool, so awesome. I know we're trying to talk to them and maybe get them on the show or do something with them. But this is an awesome tool. Right now, the card pool is a little limited, so like it's a little no quote. So like it's a good tool, but there's not quite enough cards to really do a 100% like true draft. You know what I mean? Like, you're never going to get like 12 Buccaneers in like one draft like I did one time when I went through, because that card's not going to pop up that much, So
that'd be pretty crazy.
So what's that rare do in this pack? I can't
I'm
really.
sorry. Yeah, here I'll blow it up for you. The Sphinx.
6-drop 4/4 flying. That's all you need to know.
I mean, that's already pretty good.
Yeah. Evasion.
Oh, that guy.
It's a bomb. That's kind of a turn. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it commits you to white. It's going to send a strong message to the next person. If they, if they're reading, they're going to see 2 white cards and be like, well, pretty good chance they took white.
Yeah, see, this is a pick where I feel like we might disagree. Like at least Dusty and I, is that I really, really, really like Buccaneer. The types of decks that I like to draft are more tempo-oriented, like mid-range decks, and like Buccaneer fits right into that strategy. The Sphinx is very, 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 very powerful, and I would not fault anyone for taking them, and I would even probably take them in a different situation, but I think I will take Buccaneer here.
Now, the thing I think that's really cool about both your guys' pick here is that no matter which one that you guys decide taking, you're probably going to get past white cards the next pack, because if you look at this, like there's only 2 white cards in this deck. In this pack, both of them are pretty terrible.
Well, there's 3, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm talking about if you take the Sphinx.
There's
only 2
okay.
left.
Right.
If you take the Buccaneer, you only have 1 left. So like, you're probably not the guy to sitting next to you probably isn't going to take a white or blue card out of this pack. So you should be safe the next.
Somebody in the next 2 to 3 people is going to go in wild, most likely.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, obviously wild is the pack that they'll probably go. Anybody take this command tower or whatever. But all right, Dusty, what do you think? Buddy, you gonna take the Sphinx or the Buccaneer?
I mean, those are your only 2 choices. So you can't argue any other card. It really depends on the speed of the format and the depth of these colors within the format. So, if it's a quick format where it's unlikely, where people are going 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, I probably don't want Sphinx because I'll be dead by then. And Buccaneer will be insane in that format. But if it's, reminiscent of like Magic Sealed right now, where it's a little bit slower, or Draft, then Sphinx is probably going to be a pretty big bomb, and obviously just win you the game if you untap with them pretty much. So yeah, I think it's going to. And again, I hate to say it depends, but if the format's quick, I'm taking Buccaneer because I mean that card's just ridiculous. And if it's a little bit slower, I want Sphinx because that's I'm a control player and that's where I want to be.
Yeah, and like also looking at the colors so far, someone else kind of mentioned this earlier, like about blood not being very deep in the common pools so far, but so far from the cards we've seen, Sapphire, in my opinion, is by far and away the best color for commons. Like they have Buccaneer, they have Counter Magic, they have Oracle Song, they have Nuts and Bolts, Researcher, Adept, Phoenix Guard, Scout, like Thunderbird. Like those cards are all very high picks, and especially Thunderbird and old Buccaneer here. Those two are incredible, and the fact that they're common are like the fact that Thunderbird's a common just blows me away. But
yeah, Thunderbird's awesome. That card's really good. So one more question before we kind of get out of this real quick. And I've seen a lot of people do this at the shop, during limited, and I always thought it was bad before. I've seen them be getting crushed at it in Hearthstone, but like I noticed people keep, a lot of people will take all these like pump spells, like Evolve for example, and they'll play a creature out on you, and then they're like, whatever, your go, and then like at the start of their turn they'll just pump the shit out of it and kill you with it, or they'll go with these like high like enchantment or pump spells, and they'll try to pump up a creature 1 threat and just try to beat you to death with it, knowing that obviously the removal in limited is much shorter than, or much lower than like in standard. Like is that a good strategy? Is that ever a good thing? Like when do you take it like an Evolve in Impact? Do you ever even use it? Is it just kind of like a gift? Do you guys like when is a pump spell good or an enchantment good in limited?
On a trade, on a non-trade, like if you can cast at instant speed and you can cause something that was just going to be a trade into positive numbers for you, you're still card for card because they're losing their creature and you're losing your pump spell. So that's 1 card for 1 card. So the card advantage really isn't there, but you still have presence on the board. So you still have board advantage. But the enchantment, I really hate taking enchantments. I hate them because it's a 2 for 1 every time they kill that creature. Every time.
My 2 cents on that. I mean, you definitely want to, have some pump spells in a more aggressive to mid-range deck. They're not very good, obviously, in slower decks. A card like Evolve, I'd take that if I'm playing a Swarm deck. So if I'm playing Bunnies, because it's going to pump every creature I have. But if I will typically have 1 or 2 creatures on board, I'm not taking Evolve because then it's terrible when it only pumps 1 or 2 guys. But if it's pumping 3 or 4 guys, I'm going to pick it up at that point. But I mean, you definitely want to have Giant Growth. That's one of the best limited tricks ever. Through 20 years of Magic play, pump spells have been. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, it's really hard to outplay a pump spell too. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just have to be like, if he has it, he has it. You know what I mean? I'll just swing it, and hopefully he doesn't have a pump spell. I guess I know his pump spells are a little bit hard to play around as far as like combat tricks. So playing around in that way. What do you think, John? Do you think is pump spells something that you're looking to take often, or is it kind of one of those things that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm with Dusty. I mean, I like to have 1 or 2 of them in my green decks, but it's also worth noting that again, in my opinion, like. A wild is probably the second best color, like as far as commons go. So taking the card like Evolve, I'm fine with because I'm not too upset by going, green. So, it's just one of those things. Like I like Evolve, I like Wild Growth. I don't like the 4-cost Wild Aura all that much because it's not an instant, but or not a quick action. Sorry, but but Wild Growth is a quick action. It's +4/+4, and then like Evolve is just pumps your whole team. So that's another reason why it's good. So.
All right, cool. All right, well, I think that's about it for the first pick drafting conversation that we're having. If you guys have any more questions about that, please feel free to ask about it in the comments. I'll get to them as soon as we can. I'll ask John and Dusty the questions because I don't know. I'm terrible at draft. But while you guys are asking questions or whatever, I'm going to give the floor, if you will, to John and let him talk a little bit about kind of what we're have in store for you guys for HexTCGPro. I know he wrote a little article about it, but I think we're going to go in a little bit more detail. And then after that, I guess we'll give away the sleeves and close this mother out.
Sure.
John?
So here, let me link the article real quick here. There it is in the chat. If you haven't seen it yet, or just kind of want to follow along, but yeah, I posted this article. I just kind of wanted to keep everyone up to date on what we have planned for the future of the website. First of all, we're very excited, to actually play the game, and once we can play it, we're able to give you all these features. And we really appreciate all the support that we've gotten, even before we can even jump into all of this. But, it's been very overwhelming for us and awesome. But things that we kind of want to bring you. First of all, something that I'm kind of ripping the name off of, like the Magic version, but it's called Friday Night Hex Hero. So presumably there'll be, daily events in Hex. Like, they've already said that there is going to be some, but we'll just assume that they're going to come out at launch, like alpha or maybe even beta. But so what we're going to be looking to do is start with a budget of $50, and we're going to value packs at $1.50, and we're going to just build decks and work the auction house and play in events with that budget, and try to be competitive without spending hundreds of dollars on drafts and this card and that card and so on and so forth. This is a very popular series in Magic for the people who don't have the money to just get really involved, and I think that it's going to be very easy to translate to a online game because you can just play whenever you want. So that's something that I'm pretty excited about. I'm still working out all the details for it, but I think it's going to be a really cool idea for as far as that goes. Friday Night Hero or Friday Night Magic Hero it was a Star City Games sponsored thing by Adam Prozac, and he had it running for quite a while, and it was very popular. And like I said, I was a big fan of it, and I thought it'd be really cool to do for a digital card game, because as we all know from the current card games, like Duel of Champions, games like that, it's very, very expensive to get involved. So I think a $50 budget could, go a long way. So that's that.
Shaggy, have your people contact my people. I don't know what that means, man, but I will do it. I have all kinds of people, man.
So Sean Carroll, one of our team members here, had the idea a while ago that he brought up to me about doing a series called the Weekly Free Roll, which is it's completely unedited. He's going to log in, start up a stream or his local recorder or whatever, click the button for his weekly free draft from his pro tier, and then stream it. So then after the draft, he'll talk about what went wrong, what went right if he won, just talk about how the draft went, so on and so forth. I think a few of our other team members are going to get on board with this idea, and kind of share their drafts with you, so guys can see when they fail and why they failed, and you can see when they win and how they won. So that's going to be a pretty cool series, I think. And then the third thing is more Shaggy TV. I'll let Dusty talk about this for a few minutes here. Dusty, what are your plans for Shaggy TV moving on?
Oh, cool. So the first thing that I had planned for whenever I did Shaggy TV wasn't quite the way it is now. Like, it wasn't what I had in mind. And coming from StarCraft 2, playing it professionally for a long time, one of my you can include my noob drafts. I give you permission. Cool, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. We can be noob draft partners together and fail together as a team, and then maybe one of these cool guys can help us out. Anyway, so like my one of the coolest people I got to meet whenever I was playing StarCraft professionally was Sean Plott, which a lot of people know him by Day 9. He was actually started the Day 9 Daily, and like I love the concept of Day 9 Daily. I like the concept of doing something different every day and just analyzing games. And yeah, Day 9's awesome. I've met Sean plenty of times. He's a really cool kid. But the problem that I that's kind of what I wanted to bring to Hex with Shaggy TV, but I obviously couldn't do that now because there just isn't enough content for me to do that. It's hard for me to do like deck, techs or talk about a match or go over replays or what have you when there's no way to do that currently. So moving forward, whenever the beta comes out and we actually have the ability to play the game, that's kind of what I want to do. Like probably Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday or whatever. I would like to have a daily show that starts at every time. And then do just a daily, come in, talk about a subject, maybe have you guys submit a replay of one of the games, or maybe send me a deck you want me to talk about, whatever I can do. It'll always just be for the community, whatever helps you guys out the most, and that way we can kind of get better at card games together as a community. And that's something that I really want to bring to Hex, and I really want to obviously do that on HexTCGPro, where all the cool kids are. So that's kind of my future kind of content plans for Hex and for TCGPro. I see Dusty snickering down there. Dusty, how about you, buddy? You got any kind of content planned, or are you just going to kind of sit around your new webcam and look cool, or what? Oh, he's muted. He doesn't even know it. Okay. You are muted.
There we go. I got it. That's called wife guard.
So what we're going to do, I think, is I think Dusty's going to do a segment on how to properly talk in a microphone. And
how to use your Twitch. But from my end, obviously I'm waiting on the game to come out. I plan to stream quite a bit with the game. I've got a couple free rolls per week in the pro tiers, so use those up, continue to play. But I'm just looking forward to the game come out and see different streams, be able to bring you guys on my stream, me come on yours, talk about picks, and all the kind of stuff like that through Skype call. So
yeah, actually, one of the coolest things that I know we talked about on the way home from Gen Con, because I know we did this a lot, was doing a thing so we could all be on the like Hex TCG Twitch page and just take turns streaming on that weekly to kind of demonstrate ourselves. Maybe hey, this week Shaggy's on HexTCG, and instead of me streaming on Shaggy TV, I'll actually stream on our HexTCGPro main page. And it'll be a cool way for us to bring in our new. What the hell is that on Shaggy's bed? That's my girlfriend. No, that's my dog. That's my dog Loki. He's awesome. He's a cool little guy. I actually get that question all the time in stream. He just kind of rats around a little bit. Loki.
So anyway,
he died.
The Mushwalkie. Yeah, I think it's the Mushwalkie.
It's a dead dog on my bed. Sorry about that.
So moving forward, there's also a lot of PvE articles and content that we're going to be sharing. I know right now there's been little to no talk of PvE, but the reason for that is because first of all we don't know exactly how it's going to work, other than the cards have equipment. There's a whole PvE set, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can tell you for sure that we have multiple people on our staff that you haven't even seen yet that are basically just dedicated to PvE. I mean, I'm talking old hardcore WoW raiders and various games rating like that they would just go for world first kills and all that sort of thing. So that's going to happen. We'll be sharing that kind of stuff with you as well.
I mean, the thing to remember about us is that we're all super competitive players and whatever it is. So I know you and Dusty have both played the WoW TCG super competitively in other card games. I played mostly computer games super competitively. I don't know what Charles does, but the thing is we're all
I own people at Friday Night Magic. That's it. That's as far as it goes.
Living the dream.
I just keep beating those same 12 people.
Yeah, but we're obviously going to take whatever it is seriously. Me personally, I probably won't play PvE, but if it's competitive enough, I will for sure play it. If there's actually see who can get the first world first, no big deal. Here I go. I will actually sit down and try to be the first. Anything. I know my girlfriend, for example, was hey Dusty, do you want to come do crafts with me? And I'm there's a 0% chance I'm ever going to do cast with you. Like 0% chance. And she's like, well, I can make a better butterfly than you can. I was like, oh, it's on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do the best. I'll start like going to like YouTube. And I'm like, I'm going to find out the best way to make a butterfly. I'm going to be the best butterfly crafter in the East Coast. But like, that's me. Like, I'm super competitive. Like, no matter what it is, I will do it if it's competitive enough.
So yeah. So I mean, if they give like some kind of like digital like award for world first kill of this raid boss, like I promise you we have people that will try to do that. Like sure. There are people on our team that hate losing. Of course no one like enjoys losing, but there's people like who just hate losing, like period, no other way to put it. So these guys that you haven't seen yet, Scott Landis for example, Steve Utter, like guys that I've teamed with for many years and like in several different games. They're all very good players and very hardcore at what they do. So just don't doubt that we'll have good PvE content as well, because like we will certainly have that. And then like of course the whole set reviews. We'll go over kind of like how Channel Fireball and Star City and TCG Player, all these Magic sites kind of break down new sets into colors and then give like a like a rating system for each card, and we'll have something that's similar to that. Might not be exact, but everyone loves that, and we want to kind of follow in those footsteps and kind of do our own take on things and give that to you guys. Plus we'll all have our own streams. Like I'm sure that Dusty has linked them several times on his channel. I think they might even be right below where the screen is, down below his schedule. They're all there. So just be sure to check us out. Dusty is not pointing to his junk, I promise. And that's all the article was, guys. Is telling you, what all we have coming, and that's it. We're always open to suggestions.
Dog Mod. Well, actually, I want to say we'll do that next Thursday. Like I want to say right now, we'll actually choose what we think are the worst cards in Standard. I love doing that. Like the worst cards in Constructed. That's like one of my favorite things to do. So actually, we'll do that, because I think it's really important to know what the best cards is, but it's also important to be familiar with the worst cards, because sometimes you accidentally put those in your deck thinking they might be good, and sometimes those are the ones that have beaten you. But real quick, we'll talk about one more thing. But before we go and do the giveaway, you guys have to be following to be eligible for the giveaway. So if you haven't followed yet, please follow at the bottom. It helps me out so much. It helps all of us out, because we're all cool people. So please, you guys are all rock stars, and I know you'll do that because you are cool. But one of my go ahead, John.
I would say if you hate following streams, like there's a little thing that you can do is click it again and you can unfollow us. That's really cool how that works.
Please do not listen to him. There is no such thing as an unfollow. If you follow, you are eternally forever followed to my stream.
If it's my stream though, like that button doesn't work, so I don't know what to tell you.
This is our editor promoting our site here.
He's real good at it. But real quick, moving into the thing that I'm the most excited about moving forward to beta is we kind of announced it a little bit last week, but is the community tournament that we're trying to put together. John, I want you to talk to me a little bit about that, because we actually kind of need your guys' help, getting it started, getting you guys to tell us what you want. But John, why don't you talk a little bit about the idea behind it, and kind of maybe even link the webpage, the forum post they can go to.
Sure, real quick. I don't have a lot of details on it quite yet.
Sure.
We're still kind of working on things. I'm still trying to come up with some cool ways, along with the team to make this work. But what we kind of want to do is get all the fan sites together to have their people, compete in a tournament that will probably last several weeks, because we'll have to play matches like through like a second party, like matchmaking system. But it's just gonna be all the fan sites battling each other, and there'll be like one ultimate winner basically that has bragging rights for their site, and just bragging rights just because. But I don't quite know all the details yet. The post is on the forum somewhere. It'll probably take me 10 minutes to find it, but I think it's under the journal discussion, buried somewhere. But we'll talk about it more once once we get closer and have some more details on it. But I'm pretty excited about it, and there's most of the fan sites, or even all of them by now, know about it, and they've contacted me. So just look for that in the future. And even if you have a blog that just blogs about Hex like once a week and you want to play in it, like that's fine. Just contact me. Like I'll let you in it. It's not like super, high, top secret. Like you can't play in this unless you run this awesome website. But, we just want people to come play, have fun, and just, fight for bragging rights.
Sure. I mean, there's really no point. We're going to crush you, so. We're sorry.
We'll lose round 1 to whoever, and we'll make
for sure. Me, like if you go up against me, like you're done. I'm gonna bust out the Chosen and just shit on you. Sacrifice 2 of my gods, unblockable. Just like how are you gonna deal with it?
Well, I'll play Zentos Chosen decks.
I don't know how you're gonna beat it. You can't block it. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. So once we have more details on that, I will definitely share it with you, and it'll be popular. And like my whole idea was to have like the top 8 basically be like draft, because they said that there's going to be a way to fit 8 of your friends into one draft pod and then play. So we'll see how it works.
For sure. All right, let's move on to the giveaway. I actually got a fancy new little giveaway button thing. Go ahead and pop it up here.
And I have the code ready. So
the code ready.
It is copied, ready to be pasted.
Oh my!
Just paste it right in chat. See what happens.
Let's do this. Mad dash and go.
See, the only problem I have with this is it says I have 21 viewers, but there's only 10 here. Man, it's only 10 followers. Now it says I'm offline. So
no, it's 10 people that's logged in.
Oh, okay. I see. So they're not followers. Oh, okay.
Well, they could be followers. They're just not logged in.
Okay. Yeah, now it's up to 12. Yeah, we're up to 16 now. Cool. Well, let me give it just a little bit longer. I'll make sure everyone who's actually watching has a chance. I don't want to screw you people over at all.
10 accounts watching.
Huh?
I have 10 accounts watching.
do you really?
No, this guy.
Oh.
I Saku.
Hey, if you want sleeves that bad, then more power to you.
Bro, you're awesome. Just make sure you follow with all 10.
So are we just doing the first roll of dice here? Are we going lucky number 3 or
I don't know.
what's going on?
What do you guys think? What number? Let's see, 1, 3, or 7.
1, 3, or 7. 7 is too many. I don't have patience for that. So we'll just do lucky number 3.
Oh, it has to be 4 because 4 won last week. We'll do 4.
All right.
Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. Let me do one more refresh. Here we go. I want everybody to actually get a chance here.
So let's see. Let's click the old button.
That's all I need on YouTube comments, and someone say that Shaggy cheated me. He hates everyone. Okay. Moderators are not allowed to win. I'm sorry, moderators. You're all cool. Actually, Aaron's allowed to win, but no one else is. All right.
Last week was rigged. I wasn't here last week, so I couldn't tell you, but it probably was.
For sure was not rigged. Okay, here we go. Roll the dice. Here we go. 4th one. Number 1 is Howie. He won last week. It's actually Howie.
You did not win.
Yeah, you're not allowed to win. Okay, that's number 1.
Yeah, you gotta check me.
Here's 2. Here's 3. All right, this next person wins. Here we go. A little bit of drum. Look at Howie. So excited. If he wins again, I'll be so mad. Drum. Uh-oh. Sean won. How did he win? I obviously showed that he did, he's clicked off here. This is the worst thing ever.
And he's not following.
Yeah. Whoa, Sean!
Wow. It just picked me. I told you. Gotta uncheck me.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't see you on here. Oh, it's okay. Actually, automatically. I told you we should have done the 7th one. This is what you guys all get for not doing the 7th one.
Come on. Let's see.
Howie, you're not allowed to win again. I'm not going to give you another. All right, Dog Mod. Congratulations, Dog Mod, for being the winner.
All right, who won? Dog Mod. All right, here. Dog Mod, I am sending you a Twitch private message now with the code. So if you just hang on for a second, you should have it in your inbox shortly. Let's see. Sleeves code.
Dog Mod.
And bam, Dog Mod. Here
I was really hoping that Booty would win. I almost rigged it.
ZQ. Oops. Okay. Let's see.
So he would win. I'm sorry, Booty.
All right, Dog Mod. You should have it in your Twitch inbox. If you're not sure how it works, once the game goes live, I believe in the store, you'll be able to enter in the code. Once that's open. So.
John, have you got Howie his code? He said he hasn't got it.
Let me check the spreadsheet. I think I sent it out, but I can give them the same code that I thought I already sent them. Hang on a second here. Let's see, winners.
This is why we fired John last week.
What are we gonna do? Sometimes you just have giant noobs running things.
He won the mercenary, right?
Yeah, he won the mercenary.
Yeah, okay, I haven't sent any of the mercenaries out yet.
Okay.
Oh.
But I will send it to him. Hey, Howie, what's his email address? Can you type it in Twitch there?
Give it to everybody.
Give it to everyone and the YouTube
or just message
audience
me,
at home.
Whatever. It's just an email. Okay.
Oh, you don't know what you can do with email, John.
I don't know what you do with email, but I know what I do with it.
What do you want me to do with it?
All right, Howie. I will contact you with that code once we send out the mercenaries. We haven't scratched any of them off yet, so once we do that, though, I'll get it to you.
Cool. All right, guys. Have anything else to close out of here, Dusty? Do you have anything to say before we head out for another Thursday here?
No, just appreciate everybody for watching, continued support. And again, if you like what we're doing, make sure you're following us as well below, and the other Dusty, or Shaggy as you guys call him. Check the website, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Awesome. John, anything to say?
No, I hate everyone.
All right, cool. Pretty typical. Charles, you're up next. What do you got to say, man? What's your final words, bro? Okay, this is what we want to do. First of all, he's muted again. I don't know what's up with the muting going on and this channel here.
I had my wife yelling at the kids, so
Dude,
I didn't think you guys wanted to hear that.
Get your wives in line. You and Dusty. Next week, you need to have them in their cages or wherever you put them.
Married life. Can't recommend.
Yeah.
All right, so at the end of every Thursday, I think we need to have like a moment with Charles, and just Charles to say something.
Just say something.
This is your moment, son.
Yeah, my moment. Well, tomorrow I'm going to try to do probably around same time, 7 o'clock. I'm going to put together some decks, go over some of my picks for the decks. I still feel like we're not in a great position to build decks right now because we don't have the full set available to us. But I went ahead and put together a Inspire deck, and I put together a Sapphire Blood control deck because I feel like those are the best colors for straight control, not tempo control. So I'll talk about that tomorrow at about 7 o'clock on my stream, and I posted it earlier. Here, I'll post it again. But yeah, so if you guys show up for that, I don't have any giveaways yet. I'm going to do giveaways after beta's over. I have plenty of things to give away after beta's over for my channel. So that's just the way I'm deciding to do it.
Okay, wait a second. First of all, why did you make a title up for me? I feel like I earned the title from being awesome. I guess, Dusty, you got my back, bro?
Absolutely.
Okay, here, actually, Dusty, let's try to do a knuckle here. Knuckle me. No, like, you gotta go towards me, bro.
Nux.
Okay, whatever, it doesn't work. All right,
I
guys.
also feel like Hyena Nipples is like the coolest name that is in our viewers right now.
Booty's my boy.
And he also like retweets all of our tweets, so that's also like high five.
That's awesome. Booty's my boy. I don't give a shit. If I want to have anybody on here, it's gonna be Booty. And me and him are just gonna do like the Chosen stream is what we're gonna call it, and we're just gonna talk about Chosen, how good he is, how he's unstoppable. Maybe have pictures of him naked. Apparently, I know that apparently there's pictures of that around. It's alternate art, full card alternate art, naked picture of him. It'd be great.
Hyena's also back there in Dusty's window. I see him. He's our #1 stalker.
Dude, Loki's awesome,
there's
bro.
Loki.
Yeah.
He's shitting on people. I'm gonna teach him how to play Hex. He's gonna crush Charles at it. I guarantee it.
I accept.
I accept the duel. Me versus your dog. I will win. Alright, guys. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are all rock stars. You guys are all so awesome. Like I told you guys last week, you all have the biggest penises out of everyone that I've ever seen. Thank you all so much. Every time you follow, you gain 3 inches. Is going to be my motto. Thank you all so much for coming by. Next week, what do you guys want to do next week? Let's do worst cards and let Charles make some bad decks.
Seems pretty good.
That sound good? Unless we see some information. Maybe we'll actually get some information going on. But cool. Other than that, what's going on Shaggy TV Land? I'll be streaming Hex tomorrow. I'll be doing drafts just about all day tomorrow, and then
tomorrow, huh?
yeah, and then Next week, I'll be doing almost all Hearthstone, and then their Thursday HexTCGPro. I'll update the schedule. I will promise I'll get around to that. I've had so many emails and messages. I'm sorry. I'm just super lazy and really bad at keeping track of that. So that will all be updated. Please also check out these fine gentlemen's streams. We have Charles Zammit at Eric Squire, John Tata at J Tata, and Dusty Holster at Not as Cool as Shaggy.
Dusty Holster. I like it. I'll start calling it
That's
that.
close.
The
Yeah.
holster.
Dusty holster.
I actually like this too. The Holster. Quick draw, Dusty.
Shaggy and the holster.
Shaggy the Holster. I like it. The Holster. You can check him out at, again, Not as Cool or Good Looking as Shaggy at Twitch TV. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. You're all awesome. You guys, thank you so much for coming. It's always a pleasure. Maybe next week we can get Sean back in here. Guys, thank you so much.
He's here. He's just, you know.
Yeah, he's like fake, like in channel land.
I feel like it's a lot better with the Captain Underpants here than with old Sean Carroll, but that's just my opinion.
First of all, you're supposed to be here. Like, it's not like you're the head editor. You're like the CEO of HexTCGPro. Like, you're supposed to be here.
I just make people do my work for me.
And by that, he means his girlfriend won't let him on half the time. So, sure.
Oh, man.
You got us, bro. All right,
Got
guys.
me.
Thank you so much. I really want to leave, but they won't let me. I'm so sorry. Guys, we'll see you later. This will be up immediately on YouTube as well. I will upload it now. This is upload.
But it will not be on the website immediately because I'm lazy. But it'll probably be up there tomorrow.
Sure. Dusty, big surprise. I don't know if how I believe that. Dusty, thank you again for coming, man. You're always a pleasure. Always have so much insight. You help me out so much. Charles, thank you again for keeping your children at bay and having them not kill us for another time. John, tell Rachel I said thank you for letting you play with us today.
I will tell her.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. See you later. I shouldn't have done that first.